All right. Okay. So our Tupperware Big T, I was really excited about it. I did have, and I still do. I had found it in the back of the cupboard. I thought I got rid of it. So I do have one of the other cups. And the only reason why, and I dragged my feet on it. And the only reason why I got it was because it was on clearance and I wanted something to keep my iced tea cold while I was sitting down by the river and I could sit down there for longer with my iced tea cup. And you know what happened? Is the very first time I filled this bad boy up and went down to the river with my iced tea so I could sit there with my book for a very long time and read and relax. You know what happened? I went down there and I set my iced tea cup down and I sat down in my chair and I knocked this over and the top popped off and all my iced tea spilled all over the dock and I was like, oh my gosh. I was so irritated. And I was just like, whatever, whatever. At the time, the big T was no such thing. I didn't even know. I mean, they kept saying it was coming and it didn't come, right? And I was so irritated. So then fast forward, the big T comes out, but by then I'd kind of like, gotten used to this cup, right? So I was using it and I hadn't like transitioned over my big T. And then I was in my office and knocked over my teacup all over my desk. And guess what happened? The top popped off, went all over my desk in the middle of the workday. My husband sits right here, right? He sits right here when he's working. And I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't see. We had to take off both the monitors. It was a hot mess. It was such a disaster. And he was like, for the love of everything holy, why are you not using your Tupperware cups? And I was like, you're right. So it went to the back of the cupboard. I thought it got thrown away. I thought he threw it away, like, get rid of this thing before she makes another mess, right? But seriously, that is one of the huge benefits of our big teas is the sheer fact that it has this screw on top, right? So this does not come popping off just because it gets knocked over. And thank goodness I drink unsweetened tea, okay? Because otherwise I'd be a sticky mess. I would have bees and ants all over my dock, and I would have sticky mess all over my desk and wires and whatnot, right? So thank goodness I drink unsweetened tea. But that is so wonderful because you know how many times I've knocked this over and it fallen out of the car and it's dented and all the things, right? So it makes it perfect to be able to, this top screws on, right? And then if it gets knocked over, right, the top doesn't like come off everywhere, all over the place, right? And then just like Pam said, oh, I'm missing the top to this. It popped off the other day and I forgot to put it back when I after I got done washing it. They do come completely apart for all the cleaning. And I'll tell you guys, that is something I talk about all the time with all of our products. And that is one of the big differences. I mean, of course, that one of the biggest differences between our products and anybody else's, the cheap stuff, the good stuff, doesn't matter. But our line, product line, it doesn't matter whether we're talking about our spiralizer, if we're talking about our mandolin, anything, our spatulas, right? Is that our products always come completely apart for cleaning and you can sanitize everything, right? That is such a huge thing for me, right? My background is in restaurants, right? And so that's a big thing, right? That's a huge thing for me, right? And so all these pieces, everything comes off of, I forget where my camera is. Everything comes off up here. All these things come off. This thing pops off clearly because it didn't come back on when I did it, right? So take your stuff apart. You don't have to take it apart every time you wash it, okay? But take your stuff apart from time to time to make sure everything is good, right? But that is one of the beautiful things about our products because not all things do come apart like that. And a lot of times are little places that bacteria can grow and likes to kind of hide. And so all of our products do a wonderful job of doing that. So thank you, Tupperware, for that. All right. But one of the biggest things is that these are stainless steel. So a lot of, when people started really drinking out of these metal cups and things like that, there was a lot of hubbub about like drinking out of the metal and people are having like high metal in their and they're coming back in their whatever testing for high metals and all heavy metals in their blood or wherever it goes wherever it shows up. But they have heavy metal toxicity in their body, right? And it's because of some of the cheaper metals that can be used. But stainless steel is not one of those. Stainless steel is not porous, so it doesn't hold odors and it doesn't hold any of that type of stuff. And that is huge. That is absolutely huge. You want to be careful about things like that, right? And so stainless steel, that's one reason why you can use this for electrolyte drinks. You can use this for any of those type of things and it's not going to flavor it, right? And it's not going to put that odor in there. It's not going to make that smell, right? So I make my own electrolyte drinks and I just use like a high quality salt, right? It can be like a Celtic salt or a Himalayan salt, right? And you just put a pinch of it in there and then put fresh lemon, lime, or orange juice, whatever your favorite is. I use lime because that's my favorite. Those are all foods found in nature, and it's nature's electrolyte drink. You don't need packets that cost way too much money that are filled with all these different things. You just need those things, and you will have all the minerals and things that your body needs that you need to replenish it with. And you can put it right in here. That's literally actually what I have in here. And so I have lime juice and I have water and I have Celtic salt in this big tea right here that I'm drinking out of for. So that is like one of the best things that you can do. And you can do it here in our big teas. And so that is like one of the best things about our big teas is, Pam was talking about it earlier, you can take the straw and you can completely seal it up. So if you're going on a road trip, you can have one for now and one for later, right? And so we have like all, the different sizes. And it's so funny because, so like people, these things, they make me laugh. So for Christmas, I was gonna get my mom this one, right? And I was just like, oh yeah, my mom will love this. Like she'll totally love this. And so my dad was like the OG of metal cups. Okay, I'm telling you, like he is the original. Like he back in the day, my dad's been gone for 17 years, and so my dad's been gone a really long time. And he used to call it his water jug. And he left one in the rest stop in West Virginia. And he talked about it for 3 years after he left it there. So he loved the water jugs because he liked this water cold. And so I saw this and I was like, oh, mom will love this. And so mom was like, oh my gosh, a water jug. I can have my water jug. So then I got her this one. I was like, hey, you can take this one to the pool. And don't you know, like she literally walks everywhere with this. She walks into my house, even if she's stopping at my house for 5 minutes, she walks in with her big tea. She has the navy one. She walks in with her big tea. She goes everywhere with that big tea. I thought she was just going to take it to the pool. Right? So people love these things. If you're not using it, you need to be using it. You need to be seen using it. So that's an excellent thing for you to be able to show going out to your car, right? Be like, hey, I'm leaving the house, heading out, filled out my big tea, right? Put my coffee in it, put my this in it. When we did a show at the IX, Pam did, she filled it up with the coffee at the beginning of the day, and then she just kept opening it and showing people that it was still hot, right? What a great thing to do. So if you're working a show, have your big tea, and maybe it's your big tea that you filled for later, right? If you're pick me up in the afternoon, right? And so you have your one for the morning that you're drinking out of, but then you have your one for later. And so you can be like, this is my tea for later, but this is still hot. And just open this one and be like, see, you see the steam coming out or whatever. So yeah, so many amazing features and benefits of these is the fact that they have, they're dripless, all that jazz. They're stainless steel. They don't hold the odor. They don't do all that thing. They come completely apart for cleaning. They fit into all the cup holders. They do all of those wonderful things. Well, the ones with the handles, you can get one of those big carabiners and hook it right onto anything, a stroller, a backpack, whatever, right? You can hook it onto anything, a bike if you're into that, like whatever, whatever you want to do, right? So yeah, so those are big teas. If you're not using them, use them, right? Get hydrated, right? So you can work your business, right?